Is this the
Um,
recent one? Steal the strategy for your business?
steal this strategy. So this is one of my latest pieces of content that's doing, or it's tracking to do well right now.
Okay.
And what I did was I went through all of my old content and was like, what's the format of the content for me that was actually working and doing well? Not
Mm.
what I thought, but like actually. And it was where I would have myself on camera, like doing an intro hook and then filming my screen with my phone. The other like slight variation off of that was like me doing a green screen of my screen with me in front of it, which is such a heavier production
Yeah.
that like it's almost not even worth doing because it's like you don't need I don't need all the fancy shit to make good content. I just need
Yeah.
my iPhone. That's it. And I think so many people have, and I've fallen into this. I bought cameras and mics and like these are literally the two things that you need. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a ring light. Maybe a ring light.
I fall into that trap as well. I fall into the trap of over editing, like over analyzing what I'm gonna say. And
Right?
that's what
Yeah,
makes content look like ad and look inauthentic.
exactly. And it's like if we're still trying to follow that mind or like that mindset of here's what we're selling and here's what our offer is, we don't want to make it about this offer. We want to make it about the stuff that is around it that people are also thinking about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And
Let
so
me
for
I'm just gonna post in the group here that office hours is going on.
oh, okay.
Should we? Or because it started a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, I figured maybe there be like one or two people that show up to this one, but like
Okay. Yeah, no worries. We'll wait for it then. All good.
if we record it and then we post it, and this is how a lot of the office hour, like our Stammer offers office hours started gaining traction is because we would post them, people would watch them, and then join for the next week.
Cool. Okay. Perfect.
So anyways, so back to this piece of content. So
Yeah, sir.
figuring out what what my most popular intro hook was based off of like the stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis. And for me, that was here's a cool website that I found, or here's a cool strategy that I found.
Yeah.
And there's many variations of an intro hook that you could do off of that. So I sat down the other day and I filmed like I had ChatGPT help me write a bunch of these intro hooks, like or variations. And then I just sat down and filmed for like 15 minutes of just intro hooks. And then cut each of those out into their own little thing. So now I have an intro hook. I have like dozens of intro hooks ready to go. And I used to do this like 2 years ago. I would sit down and film a bunch of intro hooks. Here's a cool website that does this. Here's a crazy AI website that does that. Um, and I haven't done that in like a year, over a year or so. So I just redid that, but it puts me in the mindset of I don't have to like come up with a piece of content because the first 3 seconds is already there.
Right,
So
right,
I'm
right.
now matching something to that intro hook, which for me made the whole process a lot easier to actually film or come up with.
And the intros are generalized. It's like this AI website is gonna blow your mind or something like that, and then you can just add the tool on top of it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
And
clever.
what I realized is the more general I make it, the more the more room it has to go viral in different communities. So if I
The
say
more general the hook or like the more
yeah,
general the content?
the hook.
Right.
So this one, steal this strategy for your business. That that gets you on multiple different um like multiple different audiences, like even the audi like, sometimes I always think about if my mom was to watch this, would she send it to me knowing that I'm the business owner, entrepreneur?
Okay. Interesting way to frame it.
Like, well, and that's one of the metrics I look at most now, like, one of the most important metrics I look at now is the amount of shares a post is getting. If people are
Yeah.
sharing it with their friends, because I do this all the time, like, if I see something and I'm gonna send it to you or Tim or somebody on the team, like, who's it's relevant for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The comment thing is huge. Like that shows so much engagement.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm just comparing it to your last ones. Like, so this one, 190 comments. And then the ones prior, it's 2 comments, 18, 3, 2, 6.
Yep.
What was it
So
to
the difference is there is a clear call to action at the end of this video that says DM or comment SEO guide, and I'll send you the free prompt,
got it.
or I'll send you the prompt I used in the video for free.
So it's just a CTA on the end of the video.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
The piece of content is middle way through the video, which is interesting. So this video that I'm talking about is a strategy video where you go to answer the public to find keywords that people are searching in TikTok in relation to your main business keyword. So for everybody watching, the example that I show is for a window cleaner, local service business, somebody who cleans windows and gets paid for it. If they search the keyword window cleaner in answer the public under the TikTok search guideline, the results that show up are the keywords that people are searching in TikTok. The keywords that people are searching in TikTok in relation to that window cleaner keyword.
Right.
You can then sort all of those keywords by total mentions and then the estimated average CPC. And you can find the highest volume with the lowest CPC. Those are the arbitrage keywords that you can create content about and have a good chance at ranking organically because nobody's bidding on them.
That's really interesting. And it's cool that Answer the Public has a TikTok search feature.
And then you take it one step further, where you then take those keywords that are ranking high with a low CPC, you take those keywords, search those on TikTok to find the content that is actually going viral that made that keyword pop up in the first place. And then you embed that video on your article through line right to the viral video that showcases why this keyword is even important in the first place. So the piece of content that
Interesting.
I generated for this example was talking about these magnetic window cleaner tools. And it makes a lot of sense because of TikTok Shop and how that whole algorithm works. But if I was a window cleaner business, and if that's something that got organic 10, 11 million views on TikTok for magnetic window cleaner, I could write an article about here's why magnetic window cleaners, top 5 pros and cons of magnetic window cleaners. A con being, oh, you don't know how to clean your windows right, or whatever. Like, there's such an easy through line to getting it back to your business as a call to action, because if you get someone on the article, then they're reading the article, they're watching the video, they're more likely to engage with your business. And I mean, and then you've captured them on your pixel. You could do there's a lot of things.
And then they're in your ecosystem. So
Yeah.
it's a content strategy and an SEO strategy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really clever. I saw that video today and I started doing the same thing. I was looking for like agency related content on
Right.
TikTok and then
Yeah.
just brainstorming ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now I'm trying to think of like, those are the cool strategies that I find interesting and useful. How do I make content that just shares that as
Yeah.
easily and quickly as possible? And so now that I have, yeah. Oh, and then the other thing is I did do a little bit of entertainment add-ons. So Get Yarn IO is now completely clipped. Bots have completely run over that website. But now there's another one. They spun up another one called yarn.co, and it's the same platform or the same database essentially.
Nice.
But they protected it with Cloudflare, which is smart. And this website allows you to search keywords or phrases, and it will return results from popular TV shows and movies.
Yeah,
And
that's really interesting. I mean, the one video that you had ripped to 10 million views in I think it was like 2 weeks. I think it was partially because of the clips.
yeah, and it was because of those clips were making fun of myself in the
Right.
video.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like a very, like, yeah, self-serving, made fun of myself for the purpose of making fun of myself.
Well, and you made business content entertaining, which is super difficult to do in the first place.
Yeah. I think most content is either educational or entertaining, and if you can do both in one, like,
Yeah.
that's the holy grail of I mean, and that's why that video went viral, is because it was both entertaining and educational.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've got yarn.co on my screen now. I'm getting distracted by all the memes.
Oh, I mean, it's a rabbit hole of craziness.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But so I went through that. So one of the other ones that's doing well for me right now is, I redid my 5 websites that feel illegal to know videos,
Mhm.
and I did the same clips as I did from the one that went mega viral. And this one's now at 10K, and this one, I mean, I've had a couple other ones go into the 5-figure range, but
Yeah.
it's definitely clear to me, like, there's a style that's working, and don't try to be creative to get out of that style, like, just recreate that style over and over and
Right.
over and over and over again.
Yeah, that makes sense, and this is a style that you I don't know about invented, but definitely own. Like, you own this type of adding a meme inside of your video, making business content entertaining, doing the talking face with the screen overlay on a mural board or something like that. Like, the content style is consistent, but you can see clearly the types of content that goes viral for you.
Exactly.
It all has that entertainment factor.
It does, and I think I gotta lean into that more, while also having direct call to actions in every video. Because I think
Right.
when people hear this type of content or information or conversation, they're like, "Oh, well, it's so easy for you because you have follow," or whatever. But, like, if I don't have a call to action, I mean, you saw it, you called it out, like, there's 2 comments, 3 comments, 4 like, those posts did nothing for my business.
Yeah.
But this one that's doing well, yeah, it's for a tutorial on SEO guides and everything, but I'm using the same exact automation flow that I've been using for 3 years now
Yeah.
to get people that information, and then following up by sending them to a landing page with a VSL for Stammer to get them to sign up for a free trial, which it's converting at like 60-70%.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's huge. Just gets people into your ecosystem.
through organic. And I think that's that misconception. It's like, well, why would someone be interested in my business from a video about SEO when I have nothing to do with SEO? Well, it's that
Right.
same thing. This is what I'm selling, but people are also interested in learning about SEO because that's what the agency life is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube's a whole different story though from what I'm seeing.
How so?
Well, I definitely don't have it clocked uh for the style of content. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's a little bit more difficult because YouTube is fully evergreen. You could post a video today and in 5 years it goes viral
Yeah.
because something in 5 years started trending, and that's the search term that people and then boom, your video goes crazy.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's hard to like kind of think of, because with the algorithm, like, we're playing to the algorithms, whatever it
I
is.
also think there's a lot more time commitment to make a YouTube video, which is why you're probably less likely to do it. Like, there's a lot of thought and planning that goes into making a really good quality video, but a short can be something entertaining, like, oh, top 5 websites that feel legal to know, or here's a cool strategy for your business. It's easy to just capture those views, but I don't think you have, like, from the consumer side, there's no retention there. So they're going to comment and you can get them into your ecosystem, but unless they're going to continue to see your short form content, it's pretty easy for that value to just go in one ear out the other.
Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to the production value of YouTube. Like, it's assumed that it's going to be higher because of all of these creators that put millions of dollars into their videos now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think we all forget that Mr. Beast started by saying Logan Paul's name a million times in a row or whatever the hell he did, like, from a
Right. Right.
webcam. It's like the there is a through line from filming on your phone with your headphones to doing a simple screen cap on your computer with Loom or something versus a full on production.
Yeah, yeah, there is. I think it just feels a little bit more daunting for anybody getting started now because the competition is higher. Like the bar has been set higher now than what it was even a few years ago.
Yeah. For production, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you
But
still
I
think
did
that's like a worthy, because I do see certain accounts like that do just screen shares with their voice or with their face in the corner, and that's it. And then like they're getting crazy views.
Yeah, there are some accounts like that. Like I follow a few agency accounts that do that, and they're basically just screen sharing a Miro
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
and just showing like, oh, here's my mental map of thinking about growing and scaling an agency. But it's catered to a specific audience. So I think if you're making content like that, you need to recognize that views is not the thing that you're optimizing for. Like you're optimizing for a click through rate and conversion and high quality watches. I
Yeah.
saw I forget his name, but he's a pretty big guy in the agency space. He's got like 200K on Instagram followers and I think like 25,000 YouTube subs.
Uh-huh.
But 80% of their new customers coming in come from YouTube, and the remaining 20% is from short form content.
Yep.
So
Makes
it's
sense.
great to get the views, but you'll probably, if you focus on YouTube, you'll probably have a higher conversion.
And I mean, I know that for a fact.
Right.
Like one of my YouTube videos that did, I mean, my best one of all time that I posted back in March did like 10, 15K views.
Yeah.
We got hundreds of signups from that video. Hundreds, if not thousands.
Mhm.
Like, and yeah, and that one was entertaining and educational.
Right.
Yeah.
There's definitely a way to remix it. There's a lot of creators out there that make really practical, interesting YouTube content that's also really entertaining.
Oh yeah, for sure. I I find the Miro board mind map things really like, I those are to me are so educational, and if there can be a little bit of entertainment, or the way that it's presented is entertaining and not just completely boring and just deadpan, then
Yeah, yeah.
like I mean, it's got me. Like I'm
See, that's
watching
the
that
part that I
video.
need to get to. I have a lot of contextual information, but I have no idea how to turn it into something entertaining. But I put together a Miro board today that's basically just a mind map of how do you think about scaling your agency, removing yourself from the company, and then moving towards getting acquired.
Oh, nice. You wanna show me a little
Yeah, 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 for
demo
sure.
of it?
Here, let me bring it up. Cool. Can you see that? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And then I'm also just going to bring up one other thing here. Rannies. All right. So here's my very non-entertaining video. A whopping 3 views, which is great. But this is this was just taken through for you and a few other people taking inspo on how to actually walk people through a Miro board. So
Ok.
this is like the agency exit strategy. So it goes from everything through marketing, sales and closing, onboarding, fulfillment, retaining customers, getting referrals, hiring a team, which basically nobody talks about in the agency space,
Mhm.
financial, project management, and then exiting. And this is like the big question mark that people actually have no idea how to do because an agency is notoriously difficult to sell.
Mhm.
So I'll kind of summarize the
I
YouTube
think
video,
literally all the middle ones, except for the end ones, no one ever thinks about. Maybe sales too, but onboarding through exit, no one talks about that.
which is funny because it's the most important thing.
By
It
far.
really is. Like
Like, by not even close.
onboarding is so important because it's the customer's first experience with you, right? And if you mess that up, and I've noticed this because I've onboarded literally hundreds of customers over the years. If the onboarding is not done in 7 days, usually like 48 hours, the likelihood that the customer retains decreases
Mm.
because this is their first experience, their first impression with the business. So even something simple like if you get access to their Meta ad account, but not their Facebook and Instagram page. And then they have to go back and look for it and try to relink it. And oh, it's linked to a different ad account. And it just becomes this whole cluster that they can't dissect
Yeah.
themselves. That pain in onboarding is reflected in how they're going to feel about your service overall.
Yep. And the amount of
So that's
times
part
that
of
that process takes like a week to fucking get done, like it just
totally.
kills the momentum of the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So if you're onboarding a customer that feels not technically savvy, or if it's a larger company with 20 plus people, it's better to just schedule a call with the key players and get it all done at once.
Mhm.
But anyway, we go through like marketing is the basic thing. How do you attract clients? But I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So, but I know what you and I have done. We did a lot of chatbot marketing, right? Comment this keyword and you'll get this. And that's what brings people into your free lead magnets or any low ticket offer. Right? We've got the free lead magnets here. And then I talked about how do you transition somebody from entering your ecosystem to actually getting them on a call, setting them up with your appointment setters or your sales team, and then pushing them towards some of the high ticket offers and lower ticket offers.
Mhm.
And then we also come over to like skipping teams here, jumping up to retention. I talk about a whole upselling mechanism, which actually has a lot to do with how you onboard and how you position the sales deck in the very first call. So there's a lot of missing pieces that I think most agencies don't talk about. So when I'm presenting to a new customer, we're showing them a service ladder. Like these are all of the things that we can help you with, but this is your biggest pain point right now.
Mm.
So for instance, we have CRO, paid advertising, email marketing, and SEO. Right. So on that spectrum, we might start with paid advertising, but we'll show the customer these are all the services that we have. And when we get into our second month, we want to tack this on because we think it's going to have the biggest impact on your performance. And that second service is normally email marketing or conversion rate optimization, depending on their traffic. Right. So setting that up in the initial pitch deck is going to help you when it actually comes to your second, third, or fourth month and you're upselling the customer.
Are you customizing the pitch deck for each customer?
To a certain degree, for the most part, it's standardized because the amount of calls that I'm getting on, it would just be inefficient to have a customized sales deck. So to be honest, we make it pretty universal. The only time that we'll customize it is if it's a deal that we feel is going to have a huge contract value.
Mhm.
And we believe that by customizing the pitch deck, we're going to have a higher likelihood of closing the deal.
What do you see as like the number or like the number one way to get people to actually book that meeting? Is it from email or follow-ups or calling to book the meeting, or they're self-serve? Are they doing it themselves?
In terms of getting somebody from an inbound lead to actually getting on the phone with you,
Yeah.
well, it actually starts with the lead magnet because if the lead magnet is unrelated to something that you're offering, then that's probably not going to be useful. So, one of the lead magnets that we had was the seven figure mini Facebook ads course, right? And we gave this away as a lead magnet because now anybody that wants to access this, they're already problem aware, they're looking for a solution, and they're willing to take the time to implement it. Right? So if somebody comes in from that lead magnet, what pushes them to book a call is this series of email and follow-up
Yeah.
automations that we have going after it.
Which I was gonna mention, you gotta put a form in front of the Miro board when you promote it on socials, so that way you can collect info on who's downloading it.
Definitely. Yeah. I was I was in the
Trying to
middle of doing that and then ran out of patience and said, okay, I
trying
gotta
to just
publish
get
it
it
and
out.
jump on this call. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I figured.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely do. But anyway, lead magnet has to be related to the service. And then how to actually get them from in your
But does it?
ecosystem to on a call. What's
But
that?
does it? So, like, playing devil's advocate real quick, the lead magnet that I'm offering right now is this SEO guide,
Mhm.
and through the chatbot automations, if if certain things happen, like, for example, if someone has never DM'd me for a free value piece before, then the automation will kick off a secondary DM that says, "Oh, by the way, are you interested in AI and automation and growing your business with AI, something like that. And if they respond yes, then it sends them another link, which is to the landing page that has a VSL, which with more information to get them to then do this direct sign up. So completely unrelated things. The one common theme is me as the creator they're getting information from. So like in their mind, it's positioned
Right.
as, oh, this here's more free stuff for me to use. Whether they do anything with that or not is up to them, obviously. But
That's interesting. So you don't necessarily care if the lead magnet is totally correlated to the primary, secondary offer. You just want to get them in your ecosystem and give them something free and then continue to
exactly.
nurture the prospect.
I'd say 90% of my free value opt-ins are completely unrelated to AI.
Interesting.
Most of them
Interesting.
are related to how to just grow your business. The only one that I ever did was the God prompt free value opt-in, which
Mhm.
was just like a ChatGPT prompt.
Right. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Anyway,
probably to revise this then. Um, but the lead magnet is going to vary depending on the service that you're offering and the price and your total addressable market.
yeah, yeah,
Like for you, for Stammer, right, there's going to be thousands of customers and it will continue to grow. And the fulfillment team, like there is no hiring on fulfillment, there's hiring on dev,
yeah.
right? For an agency, you can be pretty successful with 20 customers. So
But
you might
I
not need
think
as many people coming into the ecosystem.
definitely, yeah. But I still think like the idea of if you're selling agency services, advertising, SEO, whatever, email marketing, whatever it is, the people that you're trying to sell that to as an agency are business owners, ideally, right?
Mhm.
Those business owners are probably also interested in learning about the random SEO strategy for this or like the random chatbot DM strategy for that.
Right.
So you could make content about all these other things that are really not related to anything that you're actually selling, which I think then sets you up more as the true authority figure in the space because now you're not always trying to, and this is one of the ways that you get content to not feel so salesy
Mhm.
is I'm literally just trying to provide free value that is truly unrelated to what I'm selling.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think that works really well for like for an organic posting strategy. Um, for paid
Sure.
ads, I think there can be more of a direct line, which is what I was talking about.
1,000%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would never do
Yeah.
that with paid ads.
Yeah, because it wouldn't do anything. It's just getting views for with no call to action. But in terms of like in
Yeah.
terms of building your brand and your ecosystem around what you're talking about, yeah, the more variety that you can have on showing expertise in the entire topic, probably the better off you're gonna be. I don't know. You know better than I do, obviously.
What what could be interesting though is boosting that post that's hitting right now and see how many more people opt in because of the boost to then comment, to then opt in, to then get the secondary DM, to then 70% conversion rate on opting in for Stammer.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see what that CAC would be, that customer acquisition cost would be.
I bet you the conversion percentage is gonna be a lot lower because as soon as it shows up and says
Probably.
sponsored, people's response is completely different. But I
Yeah.
mean, I would let it rip and see what it can do organically, and then when the views start to die off, you could
Mhm.
put a couple dollars behind it and see, the difference in conversion.
Yeah.
You're also probably hitting a lot of your current market with that post, and then as soon as you add some money behind it, it's gonna branch out a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I did in the current paid ad campaigns that we're running right now is completely exclude all existing, um, like, known people or known data.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm forcing it to be cold audiences always, and we're getting the highest click-through rate that we've ever gotten on any ad in the entire history of the ad account.
Interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, like 7.5%.
You're getting 7.5% click-through rate on a completely cold audience.
Yes.
What's the ad?
You're gonna laugh. It's the dumbest. It's like I was like, what's the dumbest, lowest thing that I could get?
Just the lowest effort thing that you can do.
Lowest 7.26%.
Oh, shit.
816 trial started for $8 a piece.
Oh my gosh. That's so simple.
Right?
Even the money that's just in a spreadsheet, like, it's not proof of anything.
Literally. And so, you know why I chose that? Is
Why?
because of uh
Oh, was this your, the thumbnail on your YouTube video?
yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So I'm like, okay, well, this guy this guy's a GHL, one of the top GHL affiliates.
Okay.
And his last or couple of his most recent videos are some of his most highest performing ones outside of 6 years ago, which is crazy.
Mhm.
But this one, how to sell AI to local businesses, and just like putting a I mean, it's the same format of all these videos that are doing really well. Like he's just rinse and repeating.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, okay, well, if this guy with 240K subs is rinse and repeating, like it must be working for him.
Mhm.
So let me do my spin on it. And I tried it with one of my videos. And then I was like, okay, well, that video is doing much better than all my other recent videos.
Yeah.
So let me just try that. And lo and behold, there we go. Bam.
Wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. The rinse and repeat part, I think, is really true, and I'm seeing a lot more creators talk about this. Like,
Yeah,
you think because you've said it that everybody's heard it every time that you say it, but you could say the same thing hundreds of times, and it will still be most people's first time running into you.
exactly.
So for everybody else that sees you, they just get reinforcement that you are who you say you are, and for everybody new, they get the intro of who you are.
Who would you say is the biggest musical performer on earth right now?
Um, Taylor Swift?
Have you been to a Taylor Swift show?
No.
Neither have I. There we go. That proves our
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would say Taylor Swift too,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had that loaded. Yeah. I mean, that I think like yeah, we've seen all the hype or whatever around it, but like we've never been to one of her shows, and yet she's the biggest performer. Like so it's like there's always room to grow, even if at the pinnacle top of the game,
Yeah.
there's still gonna be people that have never heard or seen your stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I got that tip from Alex Hormozy. He's like, "I want to address why I always say, uh, it's like, I'm Alex Hormozy, I own acquisition.com, and we do $200 million in revenue," or something like that. But like he has the same intro every time.
Yeah.
And it's because most people that see the content are still new people. Even though
Yep.
he's huge, he only has 8 million subs across everything. So I mean, it's a ton, but there is still a lot more room for growth. And anybody new is just gonna hear that message again and wait for the content because they know it's gonna be good.
Mhm.
And I say anybody new, anybody existing is just gonna wait for the good stuff, and anybody new is gonna know who he is.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing for your content. Like, you found the style that works, then you wanna be really creative and shake things up, but you end up going back to what worked anyways. You find that
Literally,
YouTube
that's
thumbnail. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I wanna be creative, but it's obvious that I shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah.
or be creative within the like confinements of the thing here. Oh, here's Tim. Have you ever met Tim? We can
No,
stop.
not yet. Hey, Tim, nice to meet you.
Hey, Brock, how's it going? Great to
Doing
finally
well,
meet you.
thanks.
I've heard too much about you, actually. Not so
That's
much,
good.
too much.
I've heard lots about you too.
Sounds good. So did I miss the Q&A or whatever?
We've just been
Well,
chatting.
Got it.
Yeah, no one joined today, but
Oh, okay.
that we kind I mean, I kind of figured that people wouldn't necessarily join at this
Mm,
early, but or
Yeah,
for the
good
first
point.
one, but we're recording this, so we'll post it just like with office hours. People will watch it and then join the next one, hopefully.
You're recording it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to be careful what I say then.
I mean, we've been I'm
Kidding.
letting it fly on these, so I don't care.
Nice. Yeah, I've been letting it fly on those live Twitter things I'm doing. Nothing crazy, actually, to be honest, but
So, I mean, that's a perfect little segue. So, Brock, Tim has been doing so, I mean, for the last 30 minutes, we've been talking about content strategy, how to
yep.
do value opt-ins, paid ads, like kinda all the whole top of funnel strategy. Tim has been doing daily Twitter Spaces, X
Yeah.
Spaces. Is
X
okay.
Spaces.
that what they're called? For building
Yeah.
public stuff.
For what'd you say, build in public?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's been interesting. I want to see, I want to do it a little longer and see like the impact. Um, there's a guy I follow on X. I cannot remember his name, which is perfect, but he does a daily X space, right? And he's had like, thousands of people that jump on. That being said, he does claim that it doesn't actually generate followers. But it may have other results for him, right? Or I don't believe he would do it. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to see how this goes and see what kind of return we get on it. But it's already been valuable, to be honest, to just connect with people and like hear their stories. One guy yesterday was talking, Raul. He was talking about his experience recently building a startup. He was one of the founders, and they did very well, right? But one problem they ran into is that uh, Raul wanted to take things to the next level, whereas the CEO and other co-founder was kind of good with the way things were going and wanted to grow slower, more bootstrapping approach. And anyway, it's interesting. He got into some of some of his philosophies and wanted to go big because when he's under serious pressure, he feels like he's more motivated. So anyway, the point is people jumping on there and telling their story, even if it doesn't result in me directly gaining more followers, it still is like valuable lessons. And over time, like we already had like 8 people join yesterday. So we'll see how it builds over time.
Nice. That's really interesting. So it's value pieces that are gonna live on Twitter that will essentially be like a reference point for,
Yeah,
uh okay.
maybe. But it's interesting you say that because I think X has done a poor job of improving that functionality. Like there's no way, there's not a lot of discoverability. People do see it at the top of their feed that like Tim is talking about something. Um, but I don't know how compelling that is for people to jump in. Plus, it's a huge barrier. A person, many people are very fine with posting reply comments on Twitter, right? They're comfortable doing that. But actually putting their voice out there and like jumping on a Twitter space and actually saying something is a huge barrier for a lot of people. Um, but yeah, we'll see
Unless
how
they just
much
wanna hear themselves talk.
we've had a bit of that. Yeah, we had a person that jumped on that was very technical, um, and just kind of went off on a tangent that didn't really go anywhere. And I need to get better, like shutting those down gently. But
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah,
how is this relevant? Like, what are you even saying, dude? Like, it's
it was
like,
like about OS design and stuff, which I mean, that's great. That's maybe a topic for a very technical audience. But most people on Build in Public, they're looking to build a business that people will kind of pay for
yeah.
the product.
Do you think it's an authority building, more of like an authority building thing?
Maybe the X faces.
Yeah, because like with all the other stuff that Brock and I were talking about earlier, like there's a very clear way of how to create content that is not in any way related to what you're building or selling, and systematically work them through a funnel essentially to eventually get them to opt in with some piece of their information. So that way, that that piece of content is actually driving something.
Oh,
And like the post that's doing pretty well for me right now has almost 200 comments already of people opting in for an SEO guide. And if they haven't DM'd me before, they're getting hit with a secondary DM that says, "Are you interested in learning about AI and making money with AI and automation?" And if they say yes, then it points them to the VSL landing page where we can get their information. So it's like we can tell how many people opted in from that video specifically.
yep.
But
So I
with
guess, Tim, question for you then. Uh, with these spaces, are you collecting leads or is this just a value piece? Like,
This is just content. So
okay,
one interesting, and my overall approach is actually very similar to what I saw someone post on X about the other day. And I haven't seen anyone echo this until I saw this post. But so Mark Liu, you guys are probably not familiar with him. He's a build in public guy. And I think his most famous product is called Ship Fast, right? It's a boilerplate. What that means is it's a template that, you get the code, you pay for it. It's about $100 and you get a template that helps you ship faster. Um, Before that, though, he built something like 20 to 30 products on X over a period of years. And he kind of shared his journey doing that. Now, what someone said in this Twitter post, and I'm going to butcher this because they said it actually very elegantly, but those 20 projects he did before he got to something that worked, those were actually content, is what it was. Ultimately, those were content that helped him build an audience that he eventually used to kind of interview them. That's a big word, but he built an audience, and then he was able to build a product later on that was specifically for that audience, right? I mean, he literally shipped a boilerplate, right? A code boilerplate. So what I'm saying is a lot of what I'm doing on Twitter, these little projects we're launching and stuff, are ultimately to build an audience, build a brand, that type of market. How will it pay off long term? I don't know. I think it's hard to measure these type of things. But we'll see.
Makes sense.
yeah, I think
But did
it's
I,
an
did I
important
answer your
distinction.
question?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think that's important for a lot of people to keep in mind. Building the audience is sometimes the most difficult part. And it feels counterintuitive, but it's the thing that you might want to do first because then as you're building the audience, you can make improvements on the product and then ship something that's custom tailored for the audience that you've already built.
Yeah. It's like one thing that partnering up with Ross helped me realize is that if you solve distribution, you solve the biggest problem already with building a product, right?
Yeah.
It's very hard to build a product and then go find customers for that product. If you can instead build the audience in some way, then build a product for them, it's much easier.
Yeah. That's why there's so much emphasis on validating your idea before you go to market or spend any time or money building the product.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my whole thing, actually. So in the big corporate world, I was trying to do that in the corporate world. Unfortunately, bureaucracy kind of prevents that approach. You can't pre-sell a product in most corporate environments. They don't allow it because it's so out there for them.
Right.
And we lightly talked about doing that with Stammer, but I feel like we more stumbled into doing that rather
Yeah,
than oh, we're gonna do a wait list. We're gonna pre-sell it to people. Like we kind of ended up just pre-selling it to people because it was there, it was ready. People
yeah.
were
Didn't you
asking
just
for
do
it.
it?
Like we just did it. Yeah. Like we didn't plan it. It was just, hey, do you want this? Yeah.
Yeah, and that did allow us to have some, or that definitely allowed us to have some validation that yes, I mean, people will pay for this because they literally did. I mean, that's the ultimate way to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you guys noticed probably in Google Trends and just like where people's minds are at is that a white label SaaS is something that was so desirable and it was such a hot topic. And there were a lot of people trying to makeshift it and do these little GPT wrappers, but not really building a product around it.
Mhm.
So a little bit right place, right time. And you probably didn't need as much market validation as a more ambiguous idea where you're really questioning if it's going to work. Like the interest was there. We all knew that it was there. You guys were just the first ones to build the best solution.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Although it's interesting because the moment you start building a white label SaaS, the pain point that you're solving changes, right? You go from not only solving the pain point that the SaaS solves, but you also have to solve the pain point of the customer that is purchasing it, right? And what do they want to do? Ultimately, they want to make money online, which is actually why I think this thing you guys are doing is so fantastic, because we get so many new people who want to build their own SaaS, build their own thing, but they don't have any of the required skills. And it's taken a decade of me building side projects on the side, failing multiple times, getting lucky a few times with some ridiculous stuff to build up the knowledge required to do what we've done now. But hopefully something like what you guys are doing can help them short circuit that and get there faster.
Yeah, I
would
hope
like
so.
I would like to think so. Yeah.
Our goal is just going to be to try to communicate some basic knowledge, but things that have been practical and have actually worked for us. Like
Right.
the most effective way to get customers in an agency. Yeah. So I'm losing my train of thought.
Now, Brock, one question I have for you, and this is a question I wanted to ask you with Ross for a while now. What is like, everyone has like their biggest learnings, or usually they do, maybe it's several of them, but like from your experience with, building your agency and selling it and doing what you're doing now, but is there something that just stands out, like one largest learning, the biggest lesson you learned?
It's probably distribution, which is the thing that I ignored the most. So
Really?
yeah, I don't, I didn't focus a lot on the organic social side because we became really good at getting clients through lead magnets, paid ads, and a little bit of
I
cold
see.
email in the early days. So the distribution is the part that I really neglected, and I'm paying for it now that we're trying to grow a subscription-based education company that is just going to be education on how to start a white label SaaS. That's the piece that I'm learning at the same time. So the shift for me is sales skills and technical skills behind the scenes does not translate to distribution and attracting customers. So I'm on the other side of the coin now trying to learn all of the lessons that we had been telling business owners to work on this whole time, which is you have to make content, especially if it's an e-commerce brand. You have to make lots of content to attract customers. And now I'm on that side of the coin trying to learn a whole different side of the business that I neglected for so long.
Got it.
And no way to get around that other than just making 100 shitty videos, and then eventually they're just not shitty.
Yeah, it's true. I keep coming back to that. Nobody can do it for you. I heard this silly little Gary V line of nobody can do push-ups for you. And it really stuck with me because no one can do the sales call for you. Nobody can make the content for you. You simply have to do it.
That's a good line, actually.
That's a very good line.
Nobody can do the push-ups but you. I got to remember that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I think that comes with all aspects, sales, everything.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that you got to get through it.
Yeah. I had a guy I know, a founder who's exited several hundred million a software company and now does a lot of other stuff. He told me two things you can never fully outsource: sales and marketing, and then product. As long as you have someone focused, a founder completely focused on one of those, you have a fighting chance, basically. And he had a very non-traditional approach, which is that, so they try to hire a lot of outside sales and marketing people, right, who come from the industries and have that background. But consistently, what they find is that no one can do sales and marketing like a founder can. And customers respond incredibly well to hearing the story of why a founder got into something. So it's really interesting.
That could be
Yeah,
something
that's
I
really good
add
to
into
know.
my sales calls.
Yeah.
Story side of it.
Like, why are we doing this? Why did we build Stammer? Ultimately, it wasn't just to build AI agents, right? That was just like the tool that got us there. What it really was about is, for me, because Ross, you had the same philosophy I did with regard to building products. And it's weird that kind of found each other and just happen to have the same philosophy. But I guess that's what happens, is you get lucky sometimes. But for me, it was getting out of the corporate world because they wouldn't let me talk to customers and build products the way I wanted to build them, right? And then for you, Ross, it was actually similar, but just in your own world, you wanted to start building products rather than just doing the agency side.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just
What I learned from growing the agency is that the biggest barrier is most often going to be your fulfillment. And that's the problem that Stammer solves. Like, so there are only so many customers you can handle for your current workforce. So for us
Right.
at full-time people, or at 5 full-time people when we exited, we couldn't double our customer base without doubling the staff, right? And hiring is something that we became really efficient at,
Mhm.
but there is still a certain level of bloat that comes with taking on more people that are just designed to be fulfillment, right? Uh, it's pretty typical for any service-based business. But
Hmm.
that's why I got so attracted to the Stammer white label model, because you can essentially run an agency the way that any traditional agency is supposed to be ran, but you have no limitation on fulfillment. So you can sell it like a service, but the fulfillment is on the software side. So there's a lot of shortcuts you still can't cut, like making content, getting great at sales, and actually having a great product. But the technical fulfillment side is already done for you. And I think that's
Yeah,
what opens up the gates of being able to more easily scale.
absolutely. And we also have a service side of it that we've been building out, which is offering customers access to our engineers, essentially our prompt engineers, so that if they wanted to, they could come to us like some of the companies have done and just entirely, outsource all of that to us because our engineers have spent the past 18 months building the Stammer code. They know how AI works. And that allows the person to just be like, okay, here's the customer, here's what they want. Build the prompt for me, make sure it works. And they can go off and completely focus on marketing and sales, which is what's really going to drive revenue anyway, and customer service.
Right.
But it also, I mean, but to Brock's point, it gives the agency an internal upsell without having to do more work necessarily. Like there's nothing to build or do. It's just do the prompting or do the white glove service on top of the thing that you can already do yourself.
Yeah.
I think this is why there are still website development agencies and people that build these things on these other platforms that a business owner could easily do themselves when now they're just turning to an agency. What we're seeing with the agency life is the agencies who are now supposed to be the ones doing that fulfillment work for those businesses are now or have always been uneducated in what it is that we are doing with AI, which now leads them to come to us to ask for help. At some point, the market will mature enough to where there will be a lot of AI built AI prompt engineers, just like there are a lot of website builders, to make it to where everyone will eventually know kind of, oh, if I don't want the AI to
Yeah.
say or do this, then I just write in, don't do that. Like that type of mentality was created a year ago, which makes sense why nobody knows it yet.
Yeah. And we have seen people that completely get it. And I don't know if they have a programming background or they just are good at taking thoughts from, requirements essentially and writing them down. But some of our customers are incredibly good at it and just completely get it.
Yeah. I think it takes that initial dive into the pool. Like when
Yeah.
ChatGPT first came out, all three of us took that night where we just did it for 5 hours and we're like, "Oh my god, like this is we all saw it very quickly and took that deep dive. Brock, you've done it with numerous platforms like Figma, I think was the one that you used, right? To design that wireframe. Like you just dove in. Now you
Oh,
know Figma.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's my approach for anything new. No one can do it for you, right? No one can do the push-ups for you. So yeah,
Yep.
same kind of thing. Like even when ChatGPT 4.0 and then 4 mini was released, I did like a few hours just diving between them and figuring out, I'm sure you guys did as well, because you're looking at your token costs. But yeah, any new platform, the only way to really get to know is just dive in on your own and,
Yeah.
you know, learn what you don't know.
Yeah. And I think a lot of business owners are either don't care or they're too focused on trying to get their business to stay alive or get the next customer or whatever. But like that's what it takes to to understand this stuff at scale.
Yeah, smart people don't realize smart SMBs are not worried about the tech side. My fiance, she paid some guy. They were setting up a SaaS. It was like an appointment confirmation thing at its core that works with her existing kind of dental software. And she asked the sales rep, and I never would have thought of this because I didn't think this is possible, but she asked the sales rep on the call, hey, do you guys just set all this up for me? And can you just do all that? And the guy was like, well, we don't really do that, but yeah, I can do it. It's, on the side, I can get it done. So she just paid him. He set up everything for her. I had it completely set up and ready to go. Cost her like, 1 to 2K. He made money. And what does she care? She makes more in an hour doing her primary stuff, dental stuff, then she's not going to go and try to set this stuff up.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. Every SMB or all the good SMBs are like that.
Yeah. Anybody making over like 4K a month or, like not struggling to survive. Yeah. Like they're going to see that investment as, yeah, this saves me and makes me money.
Yeah. They're not going to run ads themselves. I mean, can you imagine that? Yeah. What were you saying, Brock?
No, well, just pricing on value, basically. Like you said, your wife makes more in an hour than what she's going to pay the contractor, right? And any decent SMB is going to evaluate decisions in the same way, right? Is
Yeah.
this going to save me more time in the form, or is this going to save me more money in the form of time? Then I'll be able to spend somebody else to do it. And
Absolutely.
that's how decent agencies are able to secure higher contracts.
Yeah. And the reason that people that are new don't realize this value-based pricing, this value prop, however you want to say it, is because they're not business owners, right? They're just getting started and they don't realize that business people think this way. That's why Ross and I pay so damn much for software. You don't know our SaaS bill, our own SaaS bill. It's pretty high because we realize the value of great software that drives the business forward, and when we're making a decision as to keep or keep a software and pay for it, it's not like we're worried only about the cost. We're also like, how is this impacting the business? And so people have to start thinking in this business mindset. And you see people who are new stuck in like the consumerist mindset. All they're thinking about is cost, cost, cost. You really have to think about what's going to drive top line revenue.
Yeah, and you guys are so focused on the time value of money. I mean, even something as outsourcing skills, like you have, I think, one of the most highly talented dev teams in the AI space ever. And
Yeah,
if you guys were to try to figure this out yourself and use Bubble and try to make a package of ChatGPT, it would be less effective, and your time is just better spent in the areas that you're best at.
absolutely. Yeah. And we've had to train, the dev team has learned. So the dev team comes originally from a guy I met several years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, working on Notifier. And he and I have both learned over time, failing at building products. And that's why we've developed this approach. And he's taken what I was originally explaining to him and what he learned as we were learning to develop products that people will pay for. He's taken that and spread it throughout the entire dev team that we work with. So they are very good because they've spent a lot of time building products.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of
And
sense.
building a culture of building products.
Well, this has been awesome. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. It was great to meet you. And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to these calls continuing.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm super, super excited about what you guys are doing because I think there's a huge opportunity here to help people out, help them get started quickly. So I will be watching with whatever the word is.
I mean, yeah,
Excitement, I guess.
we tripled the amount of members in yesterday just from posting in the Discord.
That's insane.
I think we've had 40 members since the call started.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
40
yeah.
members
Wow.
started. Yeah.
And no one joined.
First up.
That's all right. Onwards and
Oh
upwards.
well. Yeah.
Cool.
All righty.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.